Welcome to Unleash Your Audacious Confidence on Win-Win Women TV. This show is all about sharing the tips, tools, and techniques that will allow you to step boldly in the direction of your dreams despite your feelings, fears, or past failures, to imagine what's possible for yourself and live the life you deserve. Welcome to this episode of Unleash Your Audacious Confidence here on Win-Win Women TV. I'm your host, Alicia Couri, and on today's show, we have an amazing guest that I'm going to introduce you to in a moment. But before we get to that, I just want to say thank you for joining us today. If you want to get in touch with me, go to alicia360.com and you can connect with me on all social media platforms, as well as you can WhatsApp or email me from that site. So on with the show, as they say. My next guest today is Nanette Thelemaque. She is the founder and owner of, in essence, Business Solutions. So Nanette, thank you so much for joining us. I met Nanette on another show here on Win-Win Women TV, and she was being interviewed by Paula Okone. I learned so much during that episode, Nanette, that I invited you to come to the show so you can share some things with the women here, because this is all about building and boosting confidence. And when you're in a business, there are a lot of opportunities to be shaken, for your confidence to be shaken. Would you agree to that?
I would very much agree to that.
And it's really the foundation of your business, because you help female entrepreneurs, female business owners really take the load off. Sometimes we take on too much as women business owners. So share with us a little bit of your background and how you got started.
Sure. Well, I've always been in sales and marketing, and so in the corporate world, I as a single mother, I was, very much, I guess, ambitious and pushing myself to grow in the corporate world, and I found good success in that, but after a while it became tiresome. The travel, not being able to see my family very often, especially my son, and so the word of virtual work came to being and into my sights, and I've always considered it but never really pursued it until I would say about 2004, where I started realizing that maybe that's something I want to consider. So I did a lot of my research, and then in 2013 created a website and start looking for clients, hoping that I would get clients come to my door because of my website. Of course,
man, is that story familiar? We just did a preview show and I talked about the same thing. Like, you start your business and you think, oh, everybody's going to come now that I'm in business. Everybody's going to want to come.
Exactly. And I did have a success with getting some clients, and which my intention was to continue working full time until and make my mistakes, and then transition to a full time doing this. But that didn't work out. Things happen in corporate world, like layoffs and whatever. And so I wound up jumping into it as a solopreneur in 2017. But by 2020, I found myself with a team. I started bringing people on because I can't handle this much. But if I'm going to make it a business, I have to be able to delegate.
Business. Yeah, it has to be a business that can be sustainable without you.
Right. And so, I've had my knocks and mistakes and personal, what do you call, wounds, from things that I didn't realize, because it's a learning process, right? We're all learning.
Absolutely.
But like most women, you take it internally when something goes wrong. And so it was a learning. The growth mindset was very much something that I took on, and for me has worked. And so I'm sharing.
Excellent. So that's what we're talking about today, empowering women with a growth mindset for success in business. So tell me a little bit about the transition from the mindset that you had as an employee, because you led groups, you led teams as an
Yes.
employee,
Yep.
into now owning your business and having to lead groups and build a team for yourself.
Right.
What was the difference in that mindset?
Well, I think there's always leadership with both. You have to have show leadership, but somehow it was different when I was working as an employee, because although I had people that I had to train and manage, and um, the onus wasn't on me. Is you know what I mean? It was, but it wasn't. It was the company and the growth there, and I felt an accomplishment helping someone achieve what they desired in a work setting. Managing a team for my business puts another level into it, because hiring the right people to help you run your company, now this is your baby. All of a sudden, it's a different story.
Yeah. And I've heard some people have the mindset of the responsibility of someone's livelihood. Like, I am now responsible for whether they have food on their table or not.
Right.
So my business has to succeed because now, can I pay that person? I'm
Right.
responsible for them. And that's why a lot of people, small business owners, they hesitate
Mhm.
to start building a team because of that responsibility.
Right.
But the only way you're going to grow is to take on that responsibility. And that's a part of your mindset that needs to shift around
Right.
that,
Right.
you know, I have a coach, mentor, David Nagel, and he always says, you are not responsible for that person's financial well-being.
Right.
You are hiring them.
Care,
You
but
care, you can care, but you are not responsible for it.
right.
So don't
Right.
take on, if you have to lay them off, or if you have to fire them after 2 months, you have to look at the health of your business, not the responsibility of that person. So that's
Right.
like a huge shift in your mindset that you have to make. Because
Exactly.
as women, I don't know if you can share this with me, because
Mhm.
you work with female entrepreneurs a lot.
Mhm.
As women in business, we have more of a nurturing, like, oh my gosh, this is a single mom, she has kids, what am I gonna
Yes.
do?
Mhm.
And it's
Yes.
separating that mindset. You have to be able to separate that nurture. You could still be caring for that person, but they don't have to be a part of your business still.
No, no. And that is important. What I found for me is that the vision of my vision and where I want my business to go is paramount. That's what I have to keep in the forefront. And as much as I want to help, and I do hire single mothers, single fathers, the people who want to work and but want to be there for the kids, because I've been there and I understand that. Doesn't mean that I'm going to say, well, it doesn't matter, if they're not working out, it's okay, because I really, I understand your problem. When I was a single parent, I understood I had to step up. I had to do what I needed to do for not only for myself but for my son. And if and it wasn't an easy ride. It took a lot of perseverance and a lot of hard work. And that's what I expect from
Mhm.
the people who work with me. The same thing.
So how do you shift that thought process? How do you shift into the what we term, where we kind of, this group that I belong to at Bold House, what we term the CEO mindset? How do you shift into that? Because you have to shift into that for like every day something new comes your way, and you have to be able to pivot and shift into that type of mindset. So what would you kind of give as I don't even know if there's an answer to this question really, as some of the core things that we should be thinking about when we're developing that CEO, I own this business growth
Right.
mindset versus I'm an employee or I'm just working my business.
Right. Well, there's two sides to that when you say I'm an employee to I'm a CEO of my business, because I had to get rid of my own mindset of being an employee for so long when I was
Because a
running
lot
a
of times
business.
we're employees of our business and not the
Yeah,
CEO.
well, we don't want to be.
And we don't want to be, but we end up
No.
being employees of our business.
Exactly. But that's not something we should aspire to. That's where delegation is really important, and knowing when to do that and letting it go. And so that was a learning process for me. And but I had to first shift my mindset of being an employee to my clients. I wasn't their employee. I was
Oh,
my own
oh yes.
businesswoman. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes you get caught up in that and you're trying, oh, let me do something, you want to prove yourself to someone, but you're thinking like an employee and not like a business owner. As a business, so one of the main things is understanding your abilities to do something, understanding your worth, understanding your skill sets. I had those, and I had to remember that. If I don't recognize that in myself, then I'm going to not be in a good place to manage anybody, let alone myself or my business. So
Mm-hmm.
knowing that is the first step.
Wow. I call them your tags, your talents, your assets, your gifts, and your skills. You need
Right,
to know those things and you need to know what you're bringing to the table.
right,
Um, you know, that's a really big challenge too, where you are the business owner, but you're looking to your client and you're working. I went to a webinar earlier today and she was talking about all the things that you do for your clients that you don't charge for, you don't get paid for. Um, that's kind of an employee type mindset too. It's like, well, they're paying me, so I might as well do this and this and this and this. And
right.
you're doing all these things,
Yeah,
but it doesn't actually equate to what they're paying you for this. So you
that's
have
right.
to, and I think what you said at the beginning about your vision has to guide that those services, even the ones that you're just throwing in there, is this really lining up with our vision, our mission, our goals? What are our financial goals? If I give it away here, what am I taking away from to give it here? Because there is a trade-off for everything.
Right.
So if I'm giving this client this benefit without charging for it, what am I trading off to give it to them? Maybe
Right. And
tuition for my kid, because now I've had that could have been billable hours for me and I gave it away, and instead, now something else has to suffer. So we have to always play that trade-off game.
right. And also, unfortunately, if you're doing something for free or addition because you want to be helpful, they don't see it that way. A client's not going to see it that way. You're setting expectations you don't want to set,
Mhm.
because now they're going to expect you to go over all the time,
All the time.
and you're losing money when that's money,
Yeah,
for you. Yeah.
absolutely. And I could go all the way down that rabbit hole, but let me ask, I could go so far down that rabbit hole. Because I've done it. I'm
Yeah.
not pointing fingers at anybody else but myself, because
Right.
I've done it where I've given and given. It's almost like you were bleeding. You're giving so much.
Yeah.
And who ends up hurting at the end of that transaction? You do.
Right.
Yourself.
Right.
Emotionally,
And what do you think that does to
physically.
your mindset?
Right. You're emotionally, especially, you're like frustrated and you're angry and you want to blame the client, but it's not the client's fault. It is your fault for setting that up in the first place. You should have put up a boundary and said, because scope creep is big. Like when you scope out work, scope creep is, and they'll just keep expecting you. And suddenly now you're delivering a whole new thing.
Right. Right.
And you're not getting paid for it. So,
right. And then they're beating yourself up,
and you're beating yourself up. Right. And you're hating on the client. And it's not the client's fault.
No.
It's not completely the client's fault.
Right.
You have some responsibility to take in that. So We mentioned in the pre-show that we talk, some of the things that as women that are different as well is the guilt. Like
Right.
you're building your business, but you're building it and you're having guilt. You're having mom guilt, you're having wife guilt, you're having all kinds of other guilt.
Right.
How do we kind of, because again, something you've gone through, how do we shift our mindset to really addressing those things that create guilt within us?
Yeah. I feel that there's a couple of things you have to do, and you have to stand your ground, basically. I mean, your family needs to know the boundaries, and you don't have to feel guilty about that. If you're trying to achieve something, they have to understand that this is the good for everyone. And so that requires they have to respect it. Your husband has to respect what you're doing, your children have to have respect for what you're doing, and you have to lay the ground rules out and leave them to make their mistakes or make a mess and not
Mhm.
be the one that's jumping in and overwhelming yourself. You really need to do that. And I think that that's where it comes with the balancing of work, and home life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a tricky thing.
it
I don't
is.
believe you can actually balance it. I think it's just like that. It's trade-offs because
Hmm.
there's, you might miss a birthday or two
Hmm.
in the process of growing your business, but the trade-off is, later on you'll be able to do more with them than in that particular moment.
Right.
So there are different trade-offs that we have to make, and as a family understand the different sacrifices that have to make.
That's right.
I this idea that women are going to be at home. In fact, in this economy, most women work now because we need two incomes in
Yeah.
the household these
Yeah.
days. But that women are just going to stay home, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's your choice to do and you're able to do that. But
Mhm.
there are more women in the workforce and more women starting businesses.
Yeah.
There are, women are starting businesses at an incredible rate more than men.
Right.
So, expect that women are going to be more, their time is going to be more, what am I looking for?
Well,
more
take
demand, more
right.
demand on their time.
Right.
And so as a woman, you have to be able to let go of that guilt, because
Hmm.
all that's doing is creating unnecessary stress
Right. Right.
personally in your body that's going to cause health issues for you.
And
So
I don't
you
think
need to
enough
let that.
women step up and say to their husbands, "I need you to contribute more in the household." Because again, we're all used to this, right? The husband has work at home, and then he comes home, he wants to relax. Even
And
in this day and age,
he doesn't get to relax because
right?
take care of
He's
the
got to
kids,
contribute,
the thing, everything. So, but
right?
yeah, so the household chores have to be equally,
Yeah.
um, yeah, delegate and get the kids involved in doing stuff and
Hmm.
helping out as
Hmm.
well. So those are some of the mindset traps that we can get into: the guilt
Right.
and the job mentality. What is something else that can really sap your confidence and your expectations?
Well, there's a couple. Like there's also lack of resources, and that's not so much maybe in a highly populated cities life, but there are a lot of women starting businesses in rural areas and suburbia, and they don't know what resources are out there. So in terms of networking,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of peer networking, because you always want to surround yourself with people who could be your cheerleading station, to help you and guide you and you know
Mm-hmm.
commiserate with you, but also resources in terms of funding. Those
Yes,
things
that's true.
yeah. I mean, and quite frankly, the money aspect is hard for women than it is for men. It just is, and that's something that could zap you. Could really
Yeah,
wear you down. Yeah.
it can. And so that's where you really help businesses.
Mhm.
Talk to us a little bit about how making that decision to let go of a
Yeah.
lot of the things that we shouldn't be doing as business owners, and allow someone with a business like yours to take over some of those things, because it can be really hard to let go of some of these things.
Sure. It is. It was hard for me. I mean, I have people helping me, not just my clients, but also helping my business. And that's a hard one to let go, because this is your baby. You don't want anything to go wrong. But what I found was that who I worked with was important. They had to, I didn't want taskers. I wanted people who could think outside the box, who had skill sets that were better than mine, that collaborate. And so collaboration is one of my uh what I make sure is in my vision in terms of how my business runs. The collaboration with clients, collaboration with my team members. We're
One of
all
your
thinking,
values. Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're all thinking together how we could do something better. And people are bringing in their skill sets that complement me, that I may not have, that help my clients as well as my business grow. So but I had to let go of the things that I really didn't need to waste my time on. I didn't need to waste my time on my own social media posts. So why am I doing that? I didn't need to waste my time on, uh, there are
A lot
uh,
of administrative tasks, that
administrative tasks like up the gazoo.
calendaring and
Exactly.
emails and follow
Following up with
ups. And
clients.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we do that um, that are lower level tasks
Right,
that can come off of your plate
right.
so that you can focus. And because I think one of the mindset things that we really need to understand is you don't have to do everything.
No.
And once you understand how money comes into your business, you need to start hiring people to take some things, because you need to focus on your zone of genius.
That's right.
As you're right, you focus on your zone of genius, and we're not taught that. We're not taught that is how to have success, is to take things off. And we all think we have to do everything. We have to get up at 3 a.m. and we have to do everything. And we have to go to bed at 12 o'clock at night. And then we get burned out and we wonder how that happened.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Well, because that's how we were raised, right? You take care of yourself, you get married, you take care of the kids, you take care of your husband, do this and that. And so that mindset's really hard to break. When you start saying, well, I'm not going to be doing this, I need you to do this. Then all of a sudden, your world opens up. Now you have more time
Delegating.
for networking, for finding opportunities that's going to bring the money in. And
Yeah.
but the important part is making sure you're hiring people who think outside the box, who think, and not just, well, tell me what to do. That's
Yeah.
not what you want.
That's not let me be careful what I say. It can be in short supply, because that's a mindset thing too, that I can't find any. You know, it takes diligence to find the right people.
It does.
And that's why, you know, some of the work that we do with organizations and teams is helping them find those right people. We're not headhunters. We don't help hire you, but we do help with different assessment tools for you to understand how people work together. What are the strengths of each individual on the team, and how can it be a benefit to the entire team? You know, we look at areas where there are gaps. This is the strategy you're trying to achieve, but this is what your team looks like, and there's nobody over here to fulfill the strategy that you're looking for. So this is a big gap that needs to be filled, and the people over here can't fill this gap. So either you hire somebody or you need to bring someone from another team into here to help with this gap. So we help you really identify those pieces that need to be put together, like your puzzle pieces, and whether or not you have the right people in the places that they need to be in to fit the puzzle. And hiring, you know, finding the right people is, you know, so we do a lot of that work for our clients as well, to help them make sure they have the right people.
Right.
So tell us how people can get in touch with you, because maybe we have some business owners that are listening. They're just starting their business, or they've been in business for a little while, and they've hit that growth point where it's like, I can't do this. I need help, but they're still holding on to the baby, right? They're still not letting the baby go,
not letting it go
and walk and Still trying to nurse the baby. So share with us how people can reach you.
Well, you can reach me easily on LinkedIn. I'm in essence biz soul for solution, and email's always great. That's Nanette Nanette at in essence inc.com. Very easy.
Awesome. Nanette at inessenceinc.com.
Right.
So in the last couple minutes that we do have, I want to talk, or at least ask you, is there anything that trends or anything that really, really stand out for you as easy things that women can do to shift their mindset? Like,
yeah,
listen, this is so easy. All you have to do is this.
Right. There are so many ways of doing it. One is always be developing your skill sets. Take courses on something you may not know, especially when you start growing your business. And even as seasoned ones, I feel that even though I bring in a team member that understands something I don't, say, I don't know, say it's a website design or whatever, just as an example, that doesn't mean I'm not going to take a course to learn that myself, because that helps me know exactly what's working and what isn't, or how it should work. And it just helps me to understand the business. I take business courses. SCORE is wonderful. Find women networking groups that you can join just for the camaraderie and the peer, the exchange of information. And I would say that also, those are the kind of things you do. Look at TED Talks for motivation, to feel good about yourself. Those are things I think.
There are a lot of free resources. That's the thing. There are so many
Exactly.
free resources out there that you can avail yourself of.
Exactly.
I love those tips. And always think, is this the only way? Is this the only way I could think about this? Sometimes we get in our own way. It's like, is there another way to think about this?
Right.
And kind of let go of your own thinking on something and say, is there another way to think about this?
Right.
And if you still can't think of anything, call somebody and say, this is what I'm thinking. Is there another way to think about this? Because I'm kind of stuck right now.
Right.
So challenge your own mind sometimes of the way that you're thinking about things, because we can get stuck in our own thinking, in our own mind. And if we're not open to other ways that even inspiration can come to us, it won't come.
That's right.
So if you can say that to yourself.
Exactly. And then the last one is just, if you have a couple of friends, other business people that you can bounce things off, that's perfect. But also keep yourself open to constructive criticism. It's not a sting. It's only there to help you grow.
100%, 100%. Yeah. Find ways. And if you don't have a place, come to Win Win Women, find out more about Win Win Women so that you can, reach out to me. I have a lot of women networking opportunities and stuff. So reach out to me, Alicia360.com, reach out to Nanette. Because sometimes we can be in our own little vacuum, right, and we get kind of trapped in that, and we can hit a low point and think that this is it. I'm going to go get a job because I'm done. Right. And no, you don't have to do that. You just reach out and seek help. Don't go this alone. All right. Well, Nanette, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today on Unleash Your Audacious Confidence here on Win Win Women TV. And for those of you who are watching, I encourage you to be bold, to be brave, and every day do one thing to step out with audacious confidence. And I'll see you next time on another episode right here on Unleash Your Audacious Confidence here on Win Win Women TV. Bye, everybody.